Chapter 14 covers the endocrine system, which consists of the glands that secrete hormones located throughout the body. The main functions of the endocrine system include production of hormones, which serve as chemical messengers that will travel to specific tissues, target tissues in the body. And by doing this, the entire system helps to maintain homeostasis in the body. So the endocrine system, along with the nervous system, are the two body systems that help to maintain homeostasis. A couple key terms related to the endocrine system. Antagonistic means acting in opposition. The term electrolyte, it means a mineral salt that has either a positive or a negative charge. And I have some examples here on the PowerPoint. And glucose is a simple sugar, which is a carbohydrate that acts as the primary source of energy for the body. So I will now go through some of the specific endocrine glands throughout the body and talk about the hormones that they secrete and what these hormones do. Starting with the pituitary gland, which is located in the brain. It's known as the master gland because it regulates many body activities and it stimulates other glands to secrete their own hormones. It has two lobes. You can see those here. The anterior pituitary is called the adenohypophysis, and the posterior pituitary is called the neurohypophysis. Hormones secreted by this gland include growth hormone, which regulates the growth of bone, muscle, and other body tissues. Thyroid stimulating hormone, which stimulates the release of thyroid hormones from the thyroid gland. The name pretty much indicates what that hormone does. And antidiuretic hormone, which increases water reabsorption by the kidneys. So that means the body is retaining water. Next is the pineal gland, also located in the brain, and it secretes melatonin, which promotes sleep. The thyroid gland is found in the neck right here. You can see the location. And it secretes the thyroid hormones, T3 and T4, which both regulate metabolism and help maintain blood pressure. And then on the back of the thyroid gland are the parathyroid glands. You can see those in yellow. There are 4 of these. And these glands secrete parathyroid hormone, which increases calcium levels in the blood. The thymus is located a little bit further down in the chest, and it secretes thymic hormones, which stimulate the development of T cells. T cells are a type of white blood cell that help to fight infections. Then the adrenal glands are located on top of each of your kidneys. So there's 2 kidneys and 2 adrenal glands. If you cut open an adrenal gland, you'll see 2 distinct regions. The adrenal cortex is the outer region in that lighter color, and the adrenal medulla is the inner or middle region. The adrenal cortex secretes cortisol, which regulates the concentration of glucose in the blood and stimulates the breakdown of fat from adipose tissue where it's stored. And the other hormone is aldosterone, which regulates blood pressure by increasing the reabsorption of both sodium and water. Secreted by the adrenal medulla in the middle are epinephrine and norepinephrine. These are secreted during the body's fight or flight response, and they do several things. They increase heart rate and blood pressure, they increase respiratory rate, and they increase blood glucose levels. Next is the pancreas, which is an organ located behind the stomach to the left side of the abdominal cavity. You can see its location right here. It's the yellow organ. And the pancreas has both an endocrine and a non-endocrine role. First, its non-endocrine role is to secrete enzymes that aid in digestion. Its endocrine role is to secrete 2 hormones that regulate blood glucose levels. And these hormones are glucagon, which increases blood glucose levels, and insulin, which decreases blood glucose levels. On the next slide, you will see some of the combining forms that are related to the endocrine system. And then here are prefixes and suffixes, also related to the endocrine system. So now we'll get into some of the disorders that are associated with the endocrine system. And pretty much all of these disorders are caused by either hypersecretion of a hormone, that means overproduction of a hormone, or hyposecretion of a hormone, that's underproduction of a hormone. So first set of disorders are pituitary disorders. Giantism, shown here, is caused by hypersecretion of growth hormone during childhood, and it results in excessive growth. Acromegaly results from hypersecretion of growth hormone during adulthood. Symptoms of this include excessive growth of the bones and soft tissues just of the face, the hands, and the feet. It's not going to result in a person being really tall, so it doesn't affect the long bones of the body, but mainly bones and soft tissues of the face, hands, and feet. Next one on your outline is hypersecretion of antidiuretic hormone. This causes excess water accumulation in the body, as well as hyponatremia, which is low sodium levels in the blood. Next are thyroid disorders. First is cretinism, that's shown here. The cause is hyposecretion of thyroid hormones in infants. And symptoms include impaired growth and also poor or slow mental development. Myxedema results from hyposecretion of thyroid hormones in adults. And symptoms include edema, weight gain, and fatigue. And also shown here is Graves' disease. The cause is hypersecretion of thyroid hormones, and symptoms include high metabolic rate, weight loss, excessive sweating, exophthalmos, which is bulging of the eyes, as you can see here. That's caused by edema behind the eyes. And goiter. A goiter is a swelling, you can see visible swelling in the neck, and that's caused by an enlarged or swollen thyroid gland. On the next slide are the parathyroid disorders. Hypoparathyroidism is caused by hyposecretion of the parathyroid hormones. Symptoms are hypocalcemia, that's decreased blood calcium levels. And the opposite is hyperparathyroidism, that's caused by hypersecretion of parathyroid hormone, and it results in the opposite symptom, hypercalcemia, which is increased blood calcium levels. As a side effect of this, it causes demineralization of bones because calcium is actually being pulled out of bones and put into the bloodstream. So this can lead to osteoporosis. Okay, adrenal gland disorders. Addison disease is caused by hyposecretion of the adrenal cortex hormones, mainly cortisol. And symptoms include low blood glucose levels, weight loss, low blood pressure, and fatigue. A lot of those symptoms are shown here. And then Cushing syndrome is represented by the other picture. The cause is hypersecretion of the adrenal cortex hormones. Symptoms include continuously high levels of blood glucose, which results in muscles being broken down to release nutrients into the blood. So muscles are being broken down, and that causes muscle weakness. It also results in weight gain in the abdomen, but the arms and the legs are thin. So a large abdomen, but thinning of the arms and the legs because you're losing muscle mass here. A moon-shaped face, and also high blood pressure. So next are Pancreatic Disorders, and these involve diabetes, various types of diabetes. So diabetes mellitus is the inability to produce or utilize insulin. So with this condition, glucose remains in the blood, so you have high blood glucose levels, but it can't be used by cells and the tissues for energy there. In order to be used by cells, it has to be able to move into the cells, and this is not happening. It's remaining in the blood. Hyperglycemia is abnormally high blood glucose, which is seen with uncontrolled diabetes. Also, we'll see glycosuria, which is glucose in urine. Polyphagia, which is excessive hunger. And that's because glucose isn't available to cells. So it's triggering your body to eat more to get more nutrients. Type 1 diabetes is known as childhood onset diabetes. And this is when the body simply does not produce sufficient insulin. So the treatment for that is insulin injections. And this is different from type 2 diabetes, which is sometimes called adult onset diabetes. In this case, the body may not produce enough insulin, or more likely, cells actually become resistant to insulin. And the treatment for this is diet, exercise, and weight loss.